Good evening, everybody. This is Tanya. I am your secretary for the Australian Shepherd Club of America. This is I figure we'll get a few more people straggling in, so we won't and get anything too exciting going yet. Um, Once we get a couple more people on, um, we'll get this running.
Tanya, this is Denise Krillman. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Denise.
Oh, good. All right. Last time I couldn't, nobody could hear me, so I just want to know. But I'm on, so
Yep,
okay, we're good. Thank you.
you're welcome. And then once we get everybody here, we'll try to do a quick little see if everybody can find their hands, and we'll try to raise hands and stuff like that. Figure out how to, how to communicate during all these. We'll get it all figured out.
Okay, thank you.
Hmm.
Okay. Oh, so should I turn this off now? Yeah.
Oh, I think she killed herself though. Oops.
Nice.
Exactly. Oops. I heard the bloop, like she shut herself down. She's like, now I'm gonna have to get back on again. Poor gal. Okay. So for everybody that has joined, we're a couple minutes into this. Give yourselves a second, if you can, to find either your reactions or your more buttons. And we're going to try and raise our hands when we want to speak. Like you can see, if you can see my picture, it says raise hand. And then I'm doing this call from my phone. So I have my extra buttons at the bottom. If I touch my picture, it brings up some extra reactions at the bottom and they'll say more. And then you can raise your hand, lower your hand. On the laptops, it sounds like there's a reaction button somewhere that you can find to raise or lower your hand. Um, so we're going to try and go around that way if possible, if anybody has questions. Um, let's see. Thank you, everybody, for attending. This is our second confirmation affiliate meeting. Hopefully we can, be able to get some good rounds. So it's meant to be a roundtable discussion where we can just help, talk about ideas, share thoughts, talk about things that may be problems, share ideas, and so on and so forth. Um, the goal is just basically to strengthen communication with ANASCA. So, starting out, I would be interested to know what affiliates we have here. If we kind of want to just take a second and kind of go around the room, try not to trample all over each other, but I think we can do a pretty good job. Who do we have here this evening, and what is your club name, your name, and then what is your role within the club?
Do you want to maybe just introduce the committee members first and then?
Oh yeah, sure. Would you be willing to,
Sure.
who's
Yeah,
on the committee better, best?
I think so. I think there's only a few of us on here. There's me, I'm the
Go
chair.
ahead, Brandy.
Yeah, no, and then and I'm sorry, Brittany, if I pronounce your last name wrong. Is it Putvin? Is that okay? Okay, then Anne DeChant and Kristen Tardif. And I
And
think Gail was coming, but I don't see her here yet.
I'm
Oh, and
here
Libby.
too. Yeah,
And
I made
Libby.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Libby Stively.
So I'm Andy Shawn and I'm with the ASC of Michigan as well as being on the committee. And I'm muting.
All right.
Hi, I'm Megan Berry. I am the affiliate rep for Puget Sound Ask uh, here in Washington.
Hi, I'm Susan Herdman. I'm with Greater Atlanta Australian Shepherd Club in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm a treasurer.
All right.
Hi, I'm Ladine Denzin, and I'm here from Prairie Australian Shepherd Enthusiasts in Saskatchewan, Canada.
Hi, I'm Teresa Stubblefield, and I am the Secretary, Treasurer, and Show Coordinator for Northern California Australian Shepherd Club.
Hello, I hope you can hear me. I'm Teresa Castleman. I am in Alberta, Canada. I'm the affiliate rep for Prairie Australian Shepherd Enthusiasts in Saskatchewan.
It looks like we have also Susan Winters, president of Florida Australian Shepherd Association, FASA, and Cindy King, Australian Shepherd Club of New England, and she's the club secretary. Those were in the chat.
Well, I have my hand up, but I'll go ahead and speak over.
Yes, Kathleen Sumner.
Yeah, I'm
Good for you.
Kathleen Sumner. I am from Florida. I am also with the Florida Australian Shepherd Association. I currently serve as vice president and affiliate rep.
Right on. The hands don't always come to the top. This is a challenge. Okay. All right, Brandy, would you have anything that you would want to say for the committee as far as like what y'all are working on? You're muted.
Sorry. First time Zoom meeting.
It's all good.
Yeah, no, I see friend of committee, Claire Thomas on this meeting, but we did just get that motion passed that Claire had suggested and actually written and helped write. Hi, Claire. About clarifying meaning of altered and who is eligible and who is not. So that helps a lot of dogs with the new technology that we have. There's a couple things that we are starting to work on. One of those is clarifying the eligibility requirements for judges and for like people that you've read to or people you've sold a dog to, things like that, clarifying that. So a little bit of the wording was not clear to some people, and people have different ideas on dates and such of eligibility. And then the other one I think was I don't see Gail in here, but sort of changing the requirements or changing the I don't know what the right word is, clarifying who gets credit for a litter out of all of the breeders that are listed. So we're going to start working on that. But that's all I have. It's been a little slow. We lost a lot of members last year, and we're down to just a few of us now. So we could use some help if anyone wants to join. Claire.
Hint.
Nope, that's all I have though.
Right on. Awesome. All right, cool. So with that, we will enter the roundtable discussion. Do any of our affiliates that are here have anything that they would like to bring up to the Conformation Committee?
I did have a question. This is Denise.
Denise?
Yes. I'm sorry, I don't know where the
Go
mic
ahead.
is on my phone, so
That's okay.
I'm very bad at this. So one of the
No
things
worries. Wasn't a bunch of people at once. We're good.
I had a question about the judge's comment sheet that comes with the paperwork. And I guess that's confirmation committee since it's for a confirmation dog show. And my I've had people ask if they can make comments on the sheet at the show that are not part of the show program, part of the show committee. And I've always told them if you have something to say about a judge, then yes, write a comment down here. You don't have to sign it, put your name on it, but any comments should be made, positive or negative, that you feel strongly about. Am I correct, or is only the show committee, show chair allowed to make judges' comments? And the second question about the judge's comment sheet is, does the board ever see that sheet, or where does it go once it's filed? That's all.
I will just, to what I know, the committee does not ever see that sheet. As far as I know, it goes into the office with the paperwork, and it does go to the board if it needs to be addressed, but the committee never sees that sheet.
I see Calla has her hand raised. Miss Calla, can you please help us clarify that?
So yeah, the judge evaluation sheet is something that's supposed to be filled out by the club. If members have comments about judges, positive or negative, they can write to me privately. But the paperwork is supposed to be filled out by the show committee. The judge evaluations are all sent to the office with the show paperwork. The office staff scan them in and they send them to me, and I enter them into a big spreadsheet of all of the judge evaluations that we've ever received. When they are negative comments, they do go to the committee. We don't get them very often. And they are typically then, the committee will reach out to the judge as like an educational thing. Hey, we got this comment. We wanted to talk to you about it. Do you have any questions about this spring procedure or this, this rule or whatever? It's not meant to be complaints, but it is meant to be something that we can talk to you about educationally. If there's positive comments, they still get written down. We don't really share them, but if we ever need to refer back, like if somebody did have a complaint about a judge and we went and looked back at the spreadsheet and said, oh, well, they've only gotten glowing reviews or something like that. So they are all tracked, and we do follow up if there's educational issues, but that's how they're handled.
Thanks, Calla.
Sorry, Calla. We just must not have gotten any in the last few years that I've.
Yeah, you haven't. I mean, like I said, we typically don't get any negative comments on there. I mean, occasionally, but like you said, it's been a while, I think, for confirmation. Okay. A lot of times if it's a complaint, it comes in as an actual complaint.
Gotcha.
Good to know. Any other questions that we can address?
Hi, this is
Teresa Stubblefield.
Yeah,
yes.
Hi. So mine is similar to Denise's. However, it pertains to judges that you don't necessarily hire. I hire all the judges for our club, and I can't tell you how many judges I get no response from. Is there any criteria given to judges? I mean, it doesn't take long to, respond to that email, say, sorry, I'm not available, or that Facebook Messenger, and it's really, really frustrating. And that's something that we, don't have a means to give feedback on. So I was just wondering if there's any guidelines given to judges as to, I think 24 to 48 hours is a reasonable time frame to respond.
I will say, in my experience, I know I've had a few emails go into junk that I have not checked on, and I will say that for my husband also, that he has a junk folder that he doesn't check all the time. So I would suggest, using more than one method to try to contact, like also using the phone number also before you give up. But I know we try to respond quickly because we like to judge.
I will mimic that. Sometimes you just get busy and you think you responded and you just didn't, and I just keep reaching out. I don't think any of us intend to not respond. Just every now and again it happens. I don't think it's our intent to not.
Um, any other comments on that from anyone? I see Megan has your hand raised. You're still muted if you wanted to chime in, or if you had something else.
I could chime in on that. But like,
Is this
Oh,
unless Megan has something
sorry,
on
go
the
ahead.
topic. You go ahead, Megan, if you have something on it.
We've been having the same issue with our club. I actually had an issue that was kind of for a topic that was kind of adjacent to I believe it was Teresa that said this. So I was raising my hand just to get on to the adjacent topic, but I do want to say that this is something that we as a club have really struggled with getting contact back from judges.
To go off of that, like I totally get it when people are when it's a one-off thing, because I am pretty terrible at responding to people. I'm not a judge, but I would say that it's one thing when it's a one-off, but I wonder if there's something like when it's a pattern, because I do know that I've heard of issues with there being certain judges that have been non-responsive or even saying that they don't judge anymore or they don't travel out of their area, but I don't know if we have a way to track that. But this just inspired that conversation. It's not something I've thought much of beyond just right now, but I think it's something that we could track farther or look into something. I don't think we should penalize judges that are one time.
I've actually started
I'm trying to
keeping a spreadsheet that on judges. It's
hey,
not
hey, everybody, I'm not trying to be like mean, but we need to say who you are so we know we can keep track of this conversation. Yeah.
Sorry, this is Teresa again. I have started keeping it's at this point a small spreadsheet, but I'm wondering, is there a way, and I know this is probably asking a lot, but like on the judges list, is there a way to indicate a preferred method of communication? As you know, because I mean, there's email.
Are you speaking of like our spreadsheet that ASCA maintains?
Yes, yes. If they, I mean, just highlight the preferred method of communication, maybe. I even had a judge recently that said, "Oh, I didn't get your email," and I said, "Well, here's where I send it to." "Oh, I don't use that email anymore." Well, it's what's on the judge's books, or judges.
Interesting, yeah.
So, I mean, so there's some gaps there, but I'm wondering if there's a way to indicate preferred method of communication.
Kala, are you still available? Are you still here? Let me see if I can ask her a question.
Yeah, I'm here. It's something that we'd have to look into. I don't know how possible it is at this exact moment, but it's something we can look into.
Was somebody talking about going through the judges list and potentially contacting people? Was that something we were actually pursuing, or was it something that I just was mentioned at one point about going through and trying to contact people and see if they're still available and whatnot?
Yeah, that was already done like a couple of years ago, maybe even sooner. Heidi spent a lot of time on that.
Yeah, because I thought we did something about that here recently enough, so I was kind of curious.
This is Claire for the IT committee. I don't think that's a data element that we capture in the system today, but that's not to say we couldn't add something like that. Then it would just be a matter of contacting everybody to populate it once or giving them some way to log in and update it themselves.
That would be really handy if it was something they could update themselves. What would that take, programming wise and whatnot, Claire?
I would have to defer that to our developers to estimate it. In theory, I don't think it would be a huge deal. but the devil's in the details.
Sure, sure. It seems like it should be easy, but maybe not so much.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, adding a field to the database, no big deal at all. That's like 2 seconds work. It's the how do we add it to a screen somewhere and who's supposed to update it? So,
Yeah, I like the idea of the judges potentially being able, developer
yeah.
question, judges update.
This is Megan. I have kind of a suggestion on that. It would take a little work, but I almost wonder if ASCA could send out a once a year survey to judges to make sure that all of their contact information is up to date and if they were still willing to receive judging assignments. And maybe that when we get figured out, like if we can add that in, put in like what's your
Yeah,
preferred mode of contact. Something just real simple, real
I
quick
would
that hopefully they would respond to.
sure. And if we can work it out with Claire, maybe through the developers and whatnot, we can set up something with an annual reminder that we can so we can work on that. That's a I'll take that. We'll figure that. We'll see if we can figure that out. Make that better for everybody. I was just going to suggest that Megan did maybe someone check in with the judges. Great idea. It's just a lot of work for someone to actually spend, like Calla said, Heidi went through. That's a lot of time and effort to contact everybody and make sure everything's updated and correct. It would be ideal, I think, if we could have the judges do it themselves. But I like the idea of a annual reminder email that could be sent out as well. That could probably be automated with the system pretty easily.
This is Austin. I was wondering, could that be
Howdy, Austin.
could that be something that we could maybe add into the show report for clubs? Like I contacted this judge and this is the response that they gave. Because then we're putting the what's the word I'm looking for? We're putting the action onto us as the club that got that response. And then therefore we're not
Sure.
having to reach out to every single judge, but rather and then somebody from
Maybe
ASCA could reach out and be like, this is what we were given information wise. Is this accurate? How can we
right.
work around this type of thing?
Maybe like with the show coordinators, like a show coordinator show coordinator
Because you already take
coordinator
in like Denise brought up
report.
earlier, a report of like what was the issues with judges or comments on judges, and just adding of like how was hiring
Yeah.
judges, like just that kind of database maybe. So then ASCA can start collecting that data. It's again more work for somebody else, but it might be a little less work at the same time.
Well, if it's like, yeah, no, I like the idea of adding it into like the show coordinator report. Did you have any difficulties? We could ask, and I don't know what that report looks like myself. But did you have any difficulties getting a hold of anybody or lack of response or whatever? Because if we get consistent lacks of response, then we can be like, okay, maybe we need to reach out to this judge and say, hey, do you still want to judge for ASCA or whatever? So I like that idea. That's a great. Oh, Claire just says she just added the method of contact and a please update your information contact to our backlog. Thank you, Claire. Awesome. All right, what time are we at? So we're okay. What else do we have? Does anybody else have stuff that they would like to bring up? Megan, you said you wanted to bring up a new topic?
We pretty much kind of covered it all and got around to it, so I'm good. Thank you.
Right on. Okay, now moving on to Susan. I see your hand is raised.
Thank you. I wondered if there's any follow-up on the issue of having such a poor turnout for the altered dog competitions. We had a number of suggestions that was put forth last meeting. Did any follow-up on that?
Sorry, I was muted. We did a survey, and a lot of the responses were very passionate, one way or the other. And then we had a kind of a lot of people leave the committee, so that hasn't been addressed again, but I'm happy to take a suggestion to bring that up again.
That would be great. It is obviously still a problem, and I know that our club and I understand several other clubs have sort of decided to hold off on confirmation shows, in part because the altered competition is like an N of one or an N of two. Just it's too small to hold that half of the show.
Well, I totally understand because you're also required to purchase all the same, prizes and rosettes and such when you aren't guaranteed an entry. So I totally understand that. I think it got dropped just because of how passionate the survey responses were. I will say passionate. But
Yes,
yeah, it is
passionate.
something I agree. It is something that needs to be addressed.
Thank you.
Hey, this is Libby. Quick question. Do you have, just thinking of ways in the meantime, while we work on this, do you have ribbons that you can reuse? Do you have, I mean, are you trying to cut your costs in that manner? I mean, if you're getting a bunch of ribbons and they can go towards altered and intact and they don't have dates on it, and you can use it for multiple shows. Are you trying things like that?
Yes, our ribbons don't have dates and they don't have altered or intact on them.
So what's the added cost then, I guess?
Prizes for one, time
Okay.
for another.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Because I've been to a lot of shows lately and we haven't had prizes, so my apologies. I wasn't really expecting that one.
Oh,
I mean,
well, but some clubs still try to make an effort to,
Yeah.
do
No,
prizes
and
and
I
stuff
get
like
that.
that,
I
I
was just
believe.
trying to, is there just a prize
Sure.
box that you just have them and they can go towards other things, but um just I'm
yeah,
trying to it while we're dealing with the problem or issue, offering up suggestions for getting you through some shows through the year.
well, I think that the turnout for altered dogs, I think, is pretty poor across the board. And I think ASCA either has to figure out a way of increasing the number of dogs who are entered, good dogs, not just fill-in dogs, but good dogs that are entered, or that change how they're entered. Like, is it a separate class? Is it a separate show, et cetera, et cetera? Or should decide not to have that and go the way AKC is and not have altered dogs as in competition. But it needs to be
There's
resolved.
there's a lot of discussion that can be had about that, and I think that boy, that's a lot. Sorry. This is the point of
I
this though,
know,
right?
I know.
Um other ideas, I suppose, that might be
I mean, one of the
added.
ideas we had last year was was making altered an optional class for clubs to decide whether they wanted to offer or not. And I think that's kind of the direction we were leaning before, we lost some committee members. But there are, like I said, really passionate people on actually on both sides of the argument. So it's tough.
Yeah,
I
Claire has her
appreciate
hand
that.
raised.
I was going to say, it feels like maybe the lack of participation kind of builds on itself. I mean, as somebody who's occasionally exhibited in it, if I had somebody that I was thinking about showing, but I knew I was never going to be able to get a major because of the low entries, I might be less incented to bring that dog out. Um, have we ever considered giving Altered its own point schedule? Because, I mean, the way I understand it now, the point schedule for Altered is the same as whatever the intact entry in that area is, which we know is never going to be the same volume of dogs. So if we were to base it on the actual entries being received in the altered program, maybe it might be a little bit more achievable to get majors.
This is
I've
Libby. This is Libby.
Uh,
So long as it
Hey,
continues
let's
to
raise
count
hands,
towards. I did raise my hand.
everyone. Let's remember to raise our hands.
Anyway, so long as it continues to count towards Hall of Fame, I do not think we're going to get everybody on board to lower the point schedule. I wouldn't vote for it.
Me either.
And I'm just going to go through the list on hands. Anne's chant.
I've always been one that thought that we should let the point schedule drift the way it does with Intact and not be stuck on all across the country. It's Schedule 1 for altered. And so that sticks it with having, I think it's 6 to get a 3-point major. Is that right? Or 8? Whatever it is, it's a lot. And I've always been one that thought it should be able to adjust by the number of entries. And I think that if you had a point schedule that was a hair lower, and I don't mean free, I mean just a hair lower, might make it be more achievable. And because there's nothing that anyone can do to make this be palatable. Like in some clubs, they try to get majors, build majors, and that's also looked down on as something you would never have to do in Intact. However, in my area in Intact, our shows are really puny the last 3 years, really small. And so we might have to do that for Intact. I don't know. And then the other thing that people do is instead of people, if they bring their altered dog, then they'll tell you if there's a chance for a major, I'll throw my dog in. And they really should just enter, but they don't. So these are things that um, make it hard because if you're going to build a major, then you're going to put dogs in that people don't think are worthy. In my opinion, as a judge, from what I've seen, I don't see any difference between the faults in altered dogs and the faults I see in the intact ring. But there's a feeling that that's what's going on. So it's hard to figure out how to move ahead in a positive manner with the program because of the perception. I mean, we have some people in ASCA that are, as you said, passionately for this. We have some people in ASCA that are passionately against it. So I don't know what, there's not like a unified group that wants to figure this out. Does that make sense?
Sure. Sure. We have several hands raised, so let's move on. Let's go to Brittany if you wanted to speak. She's like, I gotta find my mute button.
You're still on mute.
No worries. See if I can figure out how to unmute you. Nope. Okay, we will go to Kristen
Right.
Tardif unless she finds it here in the next.
If you hover over her window, you should see 3 little dots in a blue box up in the upper right-hand corner. I think you can unmute her there. Possibly.
There she is.
My mouse stopped working.
There you are.
I knew
You
what the
found
thing was, but my mouse was like, no. So like I get what Anna's saying. I think a lot of it is mentality. I think also there are people like me. I have a bitch who is a lovely bitch, but she has a litter mate with a health issue, and so she will never be bred. But I am keeping her in the intact classes because I am terrified of not finding majors in altered. Because so I'm keeping her intact. Like I think that is something that I am also loading up our intact classes and making it harder for people to finish intact. Like I am very, what, can you guys hear me? I'm like also using a headphone, so like watch, I'm probably ranting here and no one can hear me. But I know that like she's very finishable in intact, and there's nothing wrong with her. There's no reason why she can't be finished intact, but um, it's one of those things where she also would be just fine. Like I don't care if she has altered or intact. She's never going to be bred. So I think it's the mentality, and because people like me that are thinking that we're never going to find these majors, but I personally don't think it's a less than title, but I do hate seeing people loading it that loading these with dogs they're pulling off the street. So I don't really want her to earn her championship that way, but I also know that she is a deserving dog, so like I wouldn't care either. So, but like I think it is just mentality, and if more people could see it as that, then like more breeders, and also I think it's a stepping stone for new people who realize, oh, actually, like I have so many um, dogs that I placed in performance homes or pet homes that were nice dogs that they just weren't what I wanted to move forward. That people were like, oh, I don't want to do conformation, and they go out and they try it, and they're like, oh, this is really fun, and then they get that hit and they try it, but they never get that if they're not winning it or they're not pushing and not actually getting the majors if they're not actually able to get it. So I think it's really hard with that mentality system there. And I really hope you guys heard that because I don't actually know if my headphones worked, but that's all I have to say.
We gotcha.
We heard you. Okay, let's move on to Kristen Tardif because I think I called on her next.
Hi, everybody. Um, so I've thought a lot about this, and I come from a place that I have participated a lot in the altered program. Like I try to get everybody to bring their good altered dogs, and we are stuck building majors. Like everyone has to basically communicate and say we're all going to show up on this date, but it's very hard. People get cold feet because they're like, oh, we're not going to make it. If everybody that just wanted a major just committed, sent in their entries, showed up, we'd have it. And I can't tell you how many times we've been short one or two dogs. Like we'll get 6 or 7 and I can't get one more. And then you're stuck trying to maybe pull somebody from performance. Doesn't mean that they're less than, but you know, it's not a guarantee if they'll want to help us or not. And then that's a lot of investment in time and everything. My suggestion for a while, because I've again put a lot of thought into this, I'm wondering if it would behoove us to try a trial period of slightly reducing the numbers. I don't want the appearance of that an alter championship is less. I have animals that I just, for my own convenience, altered and then finished, you know, no problem, finished them in 2 weekends because, you know, we built majors, so they were of quality, you know, and we got points or major reserves in intact, but I just didn't get around to showing them in intact and they were getting older. You know, so I think that there might be a kind of a halfway ground with this, that maybe if we lowered the numbers to 6 or 7. So, I mean, that's still a fair number of dogs to beat, and there should still be of quality. Again, especially if like some areas are seeing issues where, you know, you're kind of sandbagging the entries, having to grab potentially inferior dogs. Again, I don't particularly find that to be the case, but I'm not going to say I've never seen it. You know, we try to avoid that because that's kind of icky, but it does happen. So I would rather defeat, you know, 6 or 7, you know, 6 really nice dogs rather than, you know, dogs that are mediocre that we just threw in there to try to make it happen, right? That's what everybody doesn't want. You know, so what if we did a trial period, see if like if we dropped it to 6 or 7 for 1 year or 2 years, and you know what, if it doesn't make the program boom, drop it, then it wasn't worth it. We can always change back. We can always try new things, and then if we say, you know what, this isn't working, or oh my god, these inferior dogs are finishing that would have never finished otherwise, and we're seeing this be an issue, then you know, repeal it, you know, or don't make it permanent. You know, we can't undo anything that's been done, in my opinion. You know, and it might breathe new life into the program and make people want to contribute again. You know, I kind of don't have a lot to lose with that. And I will say this, the vast majority of the people, because I want to hear other people's opinions that have discussed the altered program, most of the people that have been opposed to reducing the entry, like, you know, reducing the numbers slightly, or really anything that might boost the program, also don't particularly participate. I want to hear from people that actually use the program, appreciate it. What can we do to serve those members? Because they are the ones that are going to keep the program going. Anyway, so that's my piece.
Thank you. I thought I saw in the chat. No, sorry, my apologies. Moving on. Let's see. We have Megan and Denise. Megan, did you have a comment?
Yeah, so I participated pretty heavily in the Altered program back probably about 10, 15 years ago. I haven't in a while. I'm just going to address kind of the elephant in the room for it, at least up here, is money. Now, I'm not saying like reduce entry fees or anything, but I know a lot of us up here are showing 2 to 3 dogs. We have usually 5 shows in one weekend. Those costs that up really fast, which when you're especially chasing majors and altered is, and the point schedule, you know, is following the intact, and we have a ton of intact dogs, but we don't really have a lot of altered dogs. It's definitely a very daunting thing. I know we have had sandbagging up here. You know, everybody pitches in a little bit, but I have an altered bitch that I'd be happy to show. Unfortunately, I also have 3, 4 unaltered dogs that I'm showing as well. So she unfortunately gets the short end of the stick there. I would have to be in agreement with dropping down the point schedule and seeing what happens. And yeah, I agree. Like if we don't see any improvement in our altered numbers, I would say just bump it back, go back to what it was. Like it's no harm in trying. The other thing is, I think if we somehow find a way to, I think incentivize is definitely the wrong word, but reach out to homes with pet dogs, trying to get like people who we like new peppy buyers. I don't exactly know what I'm trying to formulate here. Somehow reach out to them in a manner, like maybe in the registration paperwork we send out, a flyer about the altered program. Just try to get people who we normally wouldn't see out there. Try to get it kind of one of those things like, hey, look, you can also do this. I know we've seen a lot of 4-H kids come with their altered Aussies and show, which has been, you know, a really fun thing. So I know we try to hit the juniors with the 4-H groups and stuff out here.
I've suggested that before myself too, is like try to coordinate with 4-H, you know, because we can get 4-H juniors to come in, and that might build the program in the long run, but I don't think it's direct fill.
Right, yeah. I think unfortunately anything we do at this point to rebuild the program is going to have to be drastic. Otherwise, I think it's just going to sit stagnant, and the problem is just going to compound and kind of get worse before it gets better. So.
Sure.
Thank
you, Megan. Denise?
So, can you hear me? Am I on?
I can. Yep, I can hear you.
Because I don't see my mute button. But anyway, you know, our club, Central Valley Australian Shepherd Club here in California, was one of the first ones to even have a quote spay neuter class. We tried it before it was even promoted by ASCA. And unfortunately, at that stage, it was because we felt that pet owners would like to be able to show their dogs, but they'd spayed and neutered them. So let's have classes for them. So the ones that came out were the ones that were sold to the pet people as pets, and they had, you know, no teeth, missing teeth, you know, bad this, bad that. They were the rejects of the breeders, basically, that showed up. And that's not what we now feel that the altered classes should be. However, I think it's pretty pitiful that when you have a national specialty and you can't even get a 5-point major, you know, or a major, it's pretty pitiful. The number of altered at nationals, as you know, anybody has gone there, has dwindled so much. And I I don't want to say I'm not in favor of the program. I'm just not in favor of hauling something along that you can't push a rope. If people are not going to come out there and show their dogs, you know, then what is the point of holding the program? I just
Sure.
I mean it's not an easy thing to say yes or no to, because there are areas much better, but maybe there should just be one altered class, altered bitches and altered dogs. That's it, period. And it often comes down to that because there's usually one bitch or one dog. But I just don't see the purpose of pushing so hard to get a program that we've had for years and had the same problem. So, you know, we've all been to shows where I have judged shows where they went over to the agility ring and drug in dogs to make a major. And you look at their teeth, and this dog's undershot, and this dog is this, and that dog is that. And you're thinking, why do you want to beat these dogs to have an altered champion? What's the point? I just
Fair.
have that. So I don't mean to be negative. It's just that I think we've had it long enough that I think we need to look at the reality of it and say, why do you lower it so that maybe you only need 3 dogs for a major? What's the point of that? I just,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I just get to that point that at some point, maybe we just have to say, it's just not working. So sorry, that's my opinion.
Fair. I'm gonna go to Susan and then Brandy, and then I'm gonna throw in an idea that I have, and then you all can tell me I'm crazy, if you want.
Can you hear
Go on,
me?
Susan. Yes.
Well, I think the idea of having an altered class within the intact show is an excellent one. I mean, the dogs,
That's my suggestion.
yeah, meet the quality of the rest of the dogs. We have altered dogs who look absolutely as good as a intact dog, including coat. I think that's a great idea. So I'm in support. I know my club is in support of that. We've talked about it.
Thank you, Susan.
Mm-hmm.
Brandy? She's like, I gotta find my mute button. Hang on.
Sorry, my puppy.
You're good.
Yeah. I was just gonna say to Brittany and Kristen that I don't know if they were on the committee when we discussed it previously, but we'd be happy to discuss it in committee about lowering the point schedule. But as Libby said, I'm going to be hard to convince that you should lower the point schedule because I mean it's already on point schedule 1, which is the lowest, and if it counts equally for breeder judge applications, for Hall of Fame, things like that, then it should be judged equally and not to use the terrible word, but not dumbed down. But we can certainly discuss that in committee, and if other people feel differently than we do, then we'll have to go with that.
Yep. Sounds good. And that would be my suggestion is what about, and to the committee, to suggest is what about having it as a regular class? Just have it, you have your intact, red merle, blue merle, whatever, you just have an altered class.
Yep. I know we have
Altered
discussed that in the
bitches,
past.
altered dogs.
Yep. I don't know what the specific discussion we had, but then when you get into champions, do you have to, tell the judge who's altered, who's not? It just gets a little sticky with that. And
That's where
also,
I would say to
there
make it
are
a class, like it's its
there
own
are
class, like
differences. Yeah.
and bred.
Well, yeah, but once you get your championship, then you have altered and intact champions in breed together, and then how do you differentiate, who should be checked for testicles, things like that. So it gets kind of complicated, but something I'm willing to discuss if people feel strongly about it.
All right, we have 10 minutes left. Is there anything else people would love?
You had someone in the comment section suggest something.
Yep, and Claire, it is always schedule 1. Altered is always scheduled 1, no matter what.
Okay, thanks.
Look at that. We've solved everything in an evening.
Does Lydine want to
Yeah, I was like,
ask her
Lydine has
question, or I've got
a
one too?
question.
So
Does Lydine have her hand up?
It's in the chat.
Oh, okay. Go on.
Hi there.
It?
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Lydine.
Okay. I guess we don't live in an area where there's a very high Aussie population. So we struggle to even get a major at any show. And we have a 5-show weekend where we bring in breeder judges, and we can't even get majors for that. There's just when you have few ASCA shows, it's just really hard to get incentive. It's just like the altered program for some people. Like you don't get incentive to actually. You're never going to get a championship, so why bother? So I guess I'm just looking for suggestions to how to promote ASCA, I guess.
That's a really good question. Probably one we all struggle with somewhat. I honestly don't have a strong answer for it.
I can't find my hands up signal anymore, but what about having regional shows?
That's funny. Somebody just mentioned that recently on another list. Claire suggested clustering it with other events. Are you holding just Conformation?
Usually, but sorry.
Sorry. We do hold shows with Canadian Kennel Club shows. We had one last weekend. We had 3 dogs and 2 bitches and 2 specials entered. We like our 5 cluster show. It is basically a regional show. We get dogs from. I mean, this is Saskatchewan. Nothing is close, so we have people traveling 8 hours to get here. We're getting dogs from 3 different provinces and still not making a major.
Yeah, that's difficult.
Well, I'm sorry again. I can't find my button anymore, but I meant regional in terms of multiple clubs joining together to have a show. Not just getting people from farther away, but having co-sponsored shows so that more than one club is taking responsibility. Covers a bigger region, decreases the expenses. Any reason we can't do that?
I think lots of clubs are there's definitely nothing restricting you from doing that. I know lots of clubs do that. I know our Australian Shepherd Club of Washington, we've done that many years where like Saturday is Australian Shepherd Club of Washington, Sunday is like Cascade ASC, and then maybe Monday, if it's a 3-day weekend, might be Puget Sound ASC. So we've done shows like that in this area where you kind of spread the wealth between the groups so you can have more shows, but hopefully draw a larger entry.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Did anybody else have anything to say? I see hands raised. Teresa, did you want to say something?
Hi, yes. So in April, we partnered with a local obedience club to add obedience to our weekend, and that helped us split the cost. They did rally and obedience. We had our confirmation shows. It helped us split the cost for the venue, and we brought in a judge that could do both confirmation and obedience. So that and it's a judge that we otherwise wouldn't have been able to afford to bring in.
Excellent.
So we're kind of starting to watch for, and my goal is to start adding, if we can add agility next year or some scent work, or so partner with these other clubs. When I first got into the breed, there were it was always multiple venues happening on the weekend. And so I'm trying to bring our club back to that, and it helps, especially if we can find judges that can do multiple venues for us and share that cost of bringing them in. So I felt like it was a successful weekend and people really enjoyed being able to do both. We were also able to offer a um, high point. That's not what I'm trying to say. Like something like that, but like a versatility award.
Like
One
most
of
versatile Aussie type
Yeah,
thing.
one of our judges from our nationals pre-show donated part of her judging fee to start that up for our club. So that was something, that we want to keep building on that. Um, so I mean that's hopefully, we can all help each other out and kind of um, offer multiple venues in one weekend.
Sure. Yeah, that's a great way to help, bring more entries, right? Because you get a lot more variety of people
Absolutely.
joining in.
Yeah, they
I'm
don't have
gonna
to pick and choose where they're going on a weekend. They can do both
exactly. You can
in
do
one
all your things at one
one
place
spot.
and do all your
Yeah,
Ask Us stuff.
yeah.
I'm gonna go to Kathleen really quick. We're running short on time, so try to
Okay.
get any last comments in.
Great, I can talk really fast. I have some specific questions from the last speaker. When you combined with an obedience rally club in your area, was that an ASCA club?
Sorry.
Okay, she's
Yes, it was. So we have a club that in Northern California that only does obedience and rally, which is kind of nice because in the past we didn't have enough members to be able to put both on. So this club handles all of that separately. Um, so that's
I don't think we have the luxury of a specific sport dedicated to ASCA. In the performance world, we don't have an agility ASCA club. We have combined clubs that do a lot. But I'm wondering if someone can tell me what other friendly associations are there, because I got my hand smacked pretty bad when I tried to slide into an AKC event with an ASCA show. You always got to try everything once.
So we did that in the past. So our previous venue that our club was there for over 30 years, and then AKC started doing shows on another part of that grounds. So
Okay.
we held both, and someone called us on that, and we said, "Well, hang on, this has been our venue for 30 years, and we're still occupying the same space that we've had, and we can't tell the fairgrounds who they can rent out to."
Okay.
That's not our, we don't have the liberty to say, okay, we only want this portion of the fairgrounds, but you can't rent out to anyone else.
Well, that'll be good to know for the future if we can find an opportunity like that. I'm wondering if UKC is welcoming, because I love the idea that I think it was Susan had about doing a regional event. But even with AKC shows now, we are finding we have to go to clusters. We have to do cluster shows for our AKC specialties in order to even break even. The costs are getting so high. And we are working pretty well with our ASCA club. We resurrected a club. Okay. So this will be our second confirmation show that we're having in August. And the first one, we did a themed show. And I wonder if that would help some other people. We made it as if it were a country fair. And the atmosphere was so welcoming, outdoors, beautiful shade trees, lots of just silly things, a big beautiful raffle, a food truck, just stuff that made it easy and welcoming and not like a stuffy indoor confirmation show. Just give it a try with the theme. Sometimes that'll bring people.
We have
So
decided
I'm gonna
go ahead. Sorry.
We're at 6:30, but go ahead
Okay.
and wrap up your thoughts.
I'll be quick. In December, we do a 1-day show, 3 shows in one day freeze our butts off, but it's a theme show, the ugly sweater contest, all that. And this past December, it was 42 degrees and we had majors. So that's all I'm going to say.
Cool.
Right on. Brandy, did you want to throw in anything at the end here?
No, I was just gonna add that yeah, AKC is very unfriendly to ASCA shows, but if you have like a subtly different address, you can have it on the, near or on the same grounds, and hopefully increase your entries. But yeah, AKC is not friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know they do CKC, Canadian Kennel Club up in Canada. They'll do conjunction AKC or ASCA and CKC shows on the same properties.
Nice.
We have
But
AKC.
yeah, you do have to be careful.
We have an AKC show with our Conformation show and Rally and Obedience in Fresno every year, and they asked us about it because they had four Australian Shepherds at the AKC show the previous year. We came and we are in a totally different part of the fairgrounds. Like someone else said, you can't tell the fairgrounds who can rent to who. So we rented an indoor ag building with a dirt floor. We have Rally, Obedience, and Conformation in there, and the other end of the fairgrounds and the buildings has whatever they have for AKC. So the first year that we did that, they had 28 dogs, up from 4 to 28. And I have to say today, we have very few AKC people that come down to our ASCA show, but most of the ASCA people go to the AKC. So they're very happy to see us. So you might bring that to their attention also.
Yeah, cool.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sorry.
All right, everybody. Thank you for your time. Thank you for participating. I really appreciate how much participation we got, actually. I will tie in with Brandy and any of our takeaways from this. We will decide what we need to do going forward. The committee's got some good things to probably work on. Anything else, Brandy? Are you good?
No, I think just if anyone is interested in participating, we are looking for members of the committee. So happy to have you.
100%. All right.
Brandy, how do we get in touch with you if we're interested?
Oh, you don't need to. I think you just ask Calla, but I think you just like fill out a little application, on the ASCA website and join in the fun.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. All right. I am going to end this meeting. Thank you again, everybody. And we will talk to you all later. Holler if you need anything from us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Bye.